Welcome to episode 40T or 42, maybe 40T or 42 of Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. And let's give you a little preview, and then we'll get into our title sponsor. NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals. Our thoughts on it. Is it over in the West? Maybe, maybe not. The East, kind of wide open. Also, Caitlin Clark, is she the billion-dollar woman? We'll explain. And we'll get into some more of the top stories in sports. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, maybe a Viking. We'll find out. All right, Johnny, who's our title sponsor?
Aaron is in the news every 52 weeks out of the year, man.
I know, for real.
Title sponsor is Estate Jewelry and Loan. Something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a nice, unique piece for any occasion in Brian's store. His showroom is beautiful and has lots to choose from. Estate Jewelry, diamonds, watches, check them out at 2511 Battleground Ave and also at estatejewelryloan.com. And then we have Salsaritas, fresh Mexican grill, located in High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. It's got a food truck, catering, daily specials, and you can go online and see their menu at salsaritas.com.
Excellent. Now, if you want to be a part of the podcast as a guest or you want to be a sponsor, you can message us on all of our social media. We're Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. And we'd love to have you on as a guest and especially as a sponsor. And so we're excited about where the podcast is going and bigger and better things in the future as well. All right. So, Johnny, the NBA playoffs, I think we both agree, has been the best NBA playoffs in recent memory. Mm-hmm. And that is without, bona fide long-term superstars. There are stars. Of course, you have the MVP in the Western Conference Finals. But as far as household, huge name superstars, like LeBron or KD or Steph Curry, not there. But to me, the basketball, for the most part, has been exciting. It's been competitive for the most part, and it's been a kind of throwback to the 90s. What have your takeaways been from the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals thus far?
With all those guys you mentioned that are not in it, I think the NBA is in a good place right now with those upcoming stars. Now, the big news is, as we speak today, is Tyrese Halliburton's dad gets to come to tonight's, it's tonight's ball game. He's back in the saddle, I guess. So hopefully he can behave. I guess he's got to stay up in one of the boxes. He's not allowed down near the floor. But John Halliburton is back in the house tonight in Indiana. Great games. The Knicks tonight in the Eastern Conference, whoever wins tonight wins the series. Okay, because it's 2-1 Indiana right now. If the Knicks win tonight, they're right back in it, and then they go back to Madison Square Garden. The Knicks will win it. If Indiana wins tonight, Indiana's got it made. So I think tonight is really the championship game for that Eastern Conference. Two great teams. It's a toss-up. The Knicks, of course, they had to come back from 20 down again, I guess, on, was that Saturday night or Sunday night, I guess. Yeah. Brunson doing his thing. Karl Anthony Towns was the key to that ball game. I'm happy for him on that. I don't know. I mean, Josh Hart playing, his game. I want the Knicks, but I still have a weird feeling that Indiana could win this whole damn thing and win the finals as well, whoever they play. But I'm going to pick the Knicks tonight, and I think, and in my heart, I'm going to go with the Knicks in the series. But again, we don't know. The talking heads don't know. So I'm just going to enjoy the basketball and these names, the Tyrese Halliburtons, the Miles Turner. He doesn't get enough credit. That kid is a stud. Indiana's going to be possibly without Aaron Nesmith, which that name probably doesn't even ring a bell to anybody, but he's a key player on that Indiana team. He's got an ankle situation. He can play some defense. They're going to miss him if he's not in there. But I'm looking forward to tonight's game as far as if we're just talking about the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah, I know other talking heads don't know. I know what's going to happen.
Well, I know you know everything, man. That's why I called you. I said, I got to have you on the show, man.
Yeah. The Pacers are going to win the series, and that's all. That's all you need to say. Now, Neesmith, you might not know him as a household name like a lot of these guys, but he's the guy that went on a heater when they were down 14 with under 3 minutes to go, and he hit 7 or 8 threes in that game against the Knicks and stole that game in New York. So that's his claim to fame, and he's a good defensive player. I think that does hurt them, though, not having him on the defensive end if he doesn't play. And then, he's able to stretch the court like a lot of other players. What has been fascinating to me is, and I know it's not the case, it's small sample size, but in this series, when Jalen Brunson has been in foul trouble or not on the court, the Knicks, to me, play better offense. There's less standing around and watching him. Now, they're not here without him. He's their best player. But they went on big runs, 2 long stretches in this series when he was out with foul trouble or fouling out. They went on huge runs, the Knicks, including being down by 20. He barely played in the fourth quarter of that game, and Karl Anthony Towns, scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. So it'll be interesting to see if there's what adjustments will be made going into this, and because I think Thibodeau, what somebody said, or Thibodeau, somebody said if he coached a baseball team, did you see that? He wouldn't even play 9 players. He wouldn't even play 9 players then. And I was just like, yeah, he is short rotation, but he tried to add to his rotation, and it seemed to pay dividends in that game. But no, I mean, the Knicks, I think, have overperformed this entire playoffs. They're a gritty team. They play hard. They play smart. They make you play ugly. They do have talent. They have 2 all-stars, for bona fide all-stars in Towns and Brunson. But I just think the Pacers' depth, their youth, and their pace ultimately will be too much to overcome. And no team, at least in the Eastern Conference Finals, has ever come back from being down 2-0 when they lost both games at home. When they lost the 2 opening games at home. That's the caveat. There's been people who've been down 2-0 and come back and won, but very few actually. But if they're down 2-0, losing their first 2 games at home as the favorite, they've never won. But we've seen a lot of nevers too. We've seen a lot of nevers.
You've been stealing I'm the stats man in this show.
I know.
In the last couple of weeks, you've been throwing them out there and beating me to it. So very, very good on that. Totally agree with you on the Jalen Brunson thing. Great player, superstar. They would not be where they are without him. But when he's not in there, the offense runs. They run an actual offense. When he's in there, I mean, it's not even – this isn't even exaggerating. He'll keep the ball for 18 to 19 seconds of that 24-second clock and either shoot or then throw that last second pass over, to a 3-point shooter. It drives me nuts, but he finishes. And we were watching the fourth quarter because we had a wedding to go to on Sunday night. And, he started doing that when they put him in the last couple of minutes of the game. Then he started doing it again, but then he finished a couple of them. I'm going, how can you complain? The guy he is a finisher,
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean, I think, he would make any team better that he would play for. They don't really have a system. Most teams don't really have systems anymore. System type teams like the triangle offense. I did hear an interesting theory and stat about, they're talking about LeBron James and how, he's been to 10 finals and he's won 4, but he's had to, go from bounce team to team and super teams and all that type of stuff. They said because he never was in the system. He said, really the greatest system of all time was the triangle offense. And of course you have Michael Jordan, but 6 championships with the triangle offense. And then what did they do with the triangle offense? The triangle offense then went to LA with Phil Jackson and won 5 more championships. And then where did a version of the triangle offense go? with Steve Kerr to Golden State, where they won 4 championships.
Yeah.
So that superstar players plus like a really great system like the triangle offense pays dividends. I mean, it's won. They're crediting the triangle offense with winning, was that 11, 15 championships since 1990? That's incredible.
No, I mean, it's just a fact. I mean, you got to have some sort of system. And, you know, again, it's hard to go again. You know, if they win it all, then we don't say anything. But if they don't, you know, your point is going to be absolutely 100% correct. Run a system. And, you know, it drives me. Again, I love the guy. That's why I hate saying anything against him. And obviously, Thibodeau, who I love what they say. I don't know who said this, but you know how he's always on the sidelines, you know, with his arms crossed and in that ugly face. They go, he just looks like a guy that is constipated the entire game, man. and he does. Yeah. I mean, just enjoy it a little bit. But you know, you got Karl Towns, OG Anunoby, Bridges, Josh Hart. You know, these guys are NBA players making millions and millions of dollars that are great, and they're just watching this guy for that 18 to 19 seconds. As I'm saying all this, you know, I'm starting to say, I agree with you. They are going to win it because of that, I think. They got to have a system. That's a great point, Jared. And obviously, Indiana has a system going. You know, Halliburton is the distributor, and they are doing a hell of a job in that offense. When it is running, there's no offense like it in the NBA.
Absolutely. Which leads us to another team that gets a lot of players involved, a lot of they're youthful. They're kind of like twins, really. The Western Conference twin of the Pacers is the Thunder. So Thunder versus the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves had a great chance at home to tie up the series, and they lost by 2. The game was not as close as the score suggests, but they did get it within 2 and had a chance at the end, kind of a Hail Mary type situation, but they had a chance. It's just funny, like one basket away from being tied 2-2 or being down 3-1.
Yeah.
And when it's down 3-1 and, you know, the home court advantage still remains with the Thunder, I think the Thunder wrap it up at home in Game 5. And the Thunder, they are deep, they are quick, and they have the silent assassin at SGA. I mean, this guy doesn't complain. He is, by all accounts, just like a super great guy. Yep. And they've got players like Jalen Williams, you know, that had 34 last night. You know, Chet Holmgren had 21 last night. SGA had 40. I mean, and that's just in any given night, another guy can have 15 to 20. And they all play together, and their defense is smothering, whether it's Dort or Caruso or the 3 guys already mentioned.
Those numbers you just said, you know, SGA 40, 34 by Jalen, and Chet Holmgren with 21. That's unbeatable. You know, you can't beat that team when they score like that. But they still only won by 2. Is that? Yeah. I mean, and then you look on the other end, Julius Randle, 1 for 7 from the field. You know, I've been talking him up, and I love his game, but a real star doesn't come to the playoffs and have a 5-point game when you are really needed and go 1 for 7. Anthony Edwards isn't. I mean, he's not even close to being an SGA because he comes in with 16. He only takes 13 shots, and they were keying on him, you know, but a real superstar gets through that. And
absolutely,
you know, if it wasn't for what's his name, Dante DiVincenzo, and another guy off the bench, it wouldn't have been a 2-point game, like you said. I mean, it really was. You know, the Thunder kind of dominated that game, really. But the Thunder, to me now, is just superior to the T-Wolves because you can't have your stars having games like that. And the Thunder, even when SGA had an off game, and they're complaining about him going to the free throws, which you've heard that little the free throw merchant.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
Well, here's a stat. Here's a Johnny O stat for you.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's go.
They're saying, oh, the free throw merchant, he knows how to get the fouls, and that's how he scores a lot of his points and this and that, which I don't understand. That's that's basketball. That's fantastic offensive basketball. But he's called the free throw merchant. Well, somebody took a stat, and if they threw out all free throws for everybody in the NBA this year, SGA still leads the league in scoring.
Wow.
Think about that.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
Just no free throws. You don't count any free throws.
Johnny No stat.
I like that. I like that stat. So, because don't take anything away from this kid. What you just said a couple minutes ago, he's classy. He's not in trouble. He's just out there playing his heart out. He just looks like it. Like you said, his teammates love him. And, let's enjoy this young kid, because between him and Jalen Williams the other last night playing like they did, it looked like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen together, man. I mean, that when you score 40 and 34 like that, that's huge.
Well, yeah, and like you said, going back to Ant, is SGA, their whole defense, and it worked in Game 3 when they had the 41-point victory, which was just shocking. But overall, SGA all season long, he number one player on offense, obviously, and all the defenses focus on him, and he gets his, and he does it in a way that doesn't hurt his team. He's not just chucking it up, or he's not a ball hog. I mean, he plays within the offense, and he just keeps things going. And so, yeah, I think Anthony Richardson. Why do I always call him Richardson? Anthony Richardson. Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards. He is not a superstar at this moment. I think it was premature because of last year. People were like, "Oh, he's the next Michael Jordan." Man, he's every other game he doesn't show up, and that's not a superstar yet. He's star, yes, a young star, yes, superstar. He's not there yet. He's fun to watch, but you can't take every other game off. He looks disinterested sometimes, or so frustrated, in some of these games. And then other games, he looks great. But like last night, he looked bad, and 2 games before that, he looked terrible. And so it's just like, yeah, he's just not there yet. And it takes time. And he's a young dude. He's super athletic and a freak. He'll be fine.
23 or whatever. I mean, he's fantastic. But like, you find a way. If you're being stopped that day, you find a way. Then I want to see 12 assists, or I want to see you go to the foul line 16 times. I mean, the stars know how to take it to the basket. When somebody's playing defense, keying on you, you got to find a way. And I mean, I hate to say anything against them, but him and Julius did not show up last night, and they're done. Thunder's got this one wrapped up. So
and Thunder, it shouldn't be a surprise, was the best team all season long. But that doesn't, we also had 2 great teams in the East that left early as well, the Celtics and the Cavs. All right, let's go on to, and I'm excited about this, the $1 billion woman known as Caitlin Clark. Now, Johnny, I don't know if you saw this story. It's an associate finance professor at a university. It happens to be in Indiana. But he saying the economic impact of Caitlin Clark should exceed $1 billion for the WNBA this year.
Really?
And he goes into all the numbers, and he talks about, she accounted for like 26% of all the like revenue as far as eyeballs and merchandise for the entire WNBA. One player, Caitlin Clark. Fanatics said because of Caitlin Clark, their WNBA merchandise sales were up 500% last year, her rookie year. Other sports merchandise outlets said the same thing. They're up 5 times what they were before Caitlin Clark, and she is a money-making machine. Plus, wherever she goes, it sells out. And and they said you add the TV contracts on top of that, and I believe the WNBA is going to be in negotiations for a new contract, perfect timing, with Caitlin Clark. She's a one-woman wrecking show crew, and they said the economic impact is easily for this year of $1 billion. And that's also, so you have TV, merchandise, obviously ticket sales, but also when she comes to an area, before they're getting 5,000 people, now they're getting 20,000 people in hotel rooms and restaurants, and all that stuff's factored in. That's impressive. And then her salary is $78,000.
Jeez. Yeah.
But she did sign they believe, a $25 million contract with Nike.
Yeah.
So
She's fine with that. So if you say $1 billion, okay, and I did not know that story, and that these numbers that since she has arrived, the numbers are just off the charts, and I love hearing that. But now she's out for at least 2 weeks with that quad strain. Okay, so if you're saying $1 billion, that's what he's forecasting for this year. Let's say, it's at least 2 weeks, and that's 4 games, but with a quad, who knows? It could be 3 weeks, and that could be 6 or 7 games. They might lose $250 million because of her being injured. I mean, and that's going to hurt the WNBA. And then I heard a little conspiracy theory by I'm not going to say his name. And he's saying, I have no proof of this, but I'm kind of wondering this. He was real cool about it, about questioning the injury, saying, with this whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing, and they maybe the WNBA wants that to simmer down a little bit because they do play the Chicago Sky, I guess, in a week and a half or whatever. They want that to go away, so maybe they're pulling her back a little bit. It makes no sense, to be honest with you.
No.
But he's saying, he goes, you never know. He goes, some of these things they don't want that, that race thing coming into play. But then I'm listening to him, and he's one of the top dogs. I'm thinking, no, man, the WNBA is loving this stuff, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, everybody's talking about that. What happened? What was that? That was almost 2 weeks ago. What happened between her and Caitlin and Angel? So no, when I heard that, it really surprised me. And then I'm thinking, nope, it's helping the WNBA and to get to that $1 billion that they're going to make this year. So anything like that, and any even if it's negative, it's good media right now for them.
No, it adds interest, and I mean, even if it was, because Caitlin Clark's not been accused of any racism, but it's like fans, maybe of opposing fans, are allegedly saying things to Angel Reese, and Angel Reese is playing the villain and really leaning into that, and she should, because other than missing her own shots or getting her own rebounds, that's really all she is right now. She's young, she'll be fine, but that if anything, they want her to be healthy to play against the Chicago Sky. They want her in every game, and so Caitlin Clark not playing. If the WNBA did that, then they need to cease being in a league because they're stupider than we thought.
Oh yeah,
and they still haven't made any money. They still haven't had one season where they were profitable because the NBA subsidizes them. But maybe that changes this year. So
they're getting close. Hey, before we go, before I get into the next round of advertisers, I want to do a quick shout out to one of our very avid listeners. Okay, Porter Watson out in New Bern, North Carolina. He is Kim's niece's husband to be. Okay, and he listens to every one of our shows. I mean, when I see him, he's repeating our segments. Like, I forgot we even did the segment. So he is
nice.
real. And Kim's niece, Catherine, told me at the wedding, she goes, oh, yeah. She goes, it's on a Wednesday or Thursday morning, and I'm hearing your voice coming out of the YouTube TV. I'm like, oh, my God, it's funny as hell. But he's really into it. But while I'm bringing him up, he's a big North Carolina fan. And he was very excited about the baseball team. The Heels are number 5 in the national seeding. They got the sub-regionals coming this Friday. And from my understanding, they have one hell of a chance of, definitely going to the World Series and maybe winning it all. So a little shout out to the North Carolina Tar Heels baseball team and Porter Watson out in New Bern, North Carolina.
Appreciate it, Porter. Appreciate you listening. All right, we want to thank our sponsors, Surf Hippie Fishing, surfhippiefishing.com, for all your fishing gear and tournaments, everything as fishing with a PH. Also, Elite Performance Chiropractic, former professional football player Jeremy Phillips is the chiropractor there. They get you back feeling better than ever. 2 awesome locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem. And you can check their social media and website out, Elite Performance Chiropractic. Who else you got, Johnny?
You got Pure Energy Fitness. Blaze Thompson has spent 25 years helping everyone from beginners to pro athletes build strength, resilience, and lifelong fitness through smart functioning training. At Pure Energy, they prepare you for the seasons of life by igniting your pure energy, one rep at a time from inside and out. Go to pureenergyfitness.com to check him out, and he's located in Greensboro, right off of Lawndale Drive. And then we got Shank and Torrance Insurance. They're my insurance company for the last 20 years, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. And we got Tee It Up Indoor on Battleground Ave. He's got 3 new simulators with over 100,000 golf courses to play. Davis Troxler is the owner up there. And from what I see this week, it's going to be raining all week. Get your clubs and head over to Tee It Up Indoor over on Battleground Ave. And he's got a full golf store, and he sells beers and soft drinks and all that kind of good stuff. So that's your golf place to be this week.
No, perfect week for it, for sure. My goodness.
Oh, you know what? I almost forgot Jimmy Snow. Wow, he would have been mad.
Boy.
Jimmy Snow up north, Imperial Marketing Solutions, sale of equipment, sales of new reconditioned computer, IT hardware, reconditioned equal to brand spanking new. He gives a 3-year warranty, out-of-state drop shipping, and payment terms available. Jimmy Snow, 315-345-8349.
All right, and then our final topic is, where will Aaron Rodgers go, if anywhere? And they're saying he's playing the long game, and he doesn't, if he doesn't play, he doesn't play. If he does play, he does play. He's not going to be a backup somewhere, obviously. And they're thinking he's playing the long game to be the Vikings starting quarterback. And, boy, talking about following exactly in Brett Favre's footsteps.
Yeah.
Green Bay, to the Jets, to the Vikings, and then I'm sure some sort of Netflix documentary talking about the scandals. Because he's in the news this week, unfortunately, Danica Patrick.
Yes, I was going to offer that.
Emotionally abusive in the relationship, 2 sides to every story. We've also heard that from another one of his ex, Shailene Woodley. We also heard that from, he's kind of hard to deal with in the locker room. And also his dad and brother really don't have much to do with him. So you never know. Things can be complicated, but it's these women are all saying the same things, that he's not the greatest guy to be in a relationship with.
He's the common denominator in all those relationships, including his family. So there's something off about him. He is, to me, I'll say it, he's just the number one prima donna ever in the history of sports right now, man. OTAs start today, I guess, and the Steelers, who have been wanting him, and he's playing with them like like a fiddle, I guess. But he wants the Vikings. He wants the Vikings, and they don't want him, I don't think. I mean, or else they would have pulled the trigger by now, and they want to use that J.J. McCarthy. But the Steelers have a plan B, and that's Kirk Cousins. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I am so sad. I get sick of hearing about the Cowboys on a daily basis by all the, ESPNs, but this Aaron Rodgers is in the news more than the Cowboys. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any predictions for that. I hope he sits out. I hope he's done for his career, because I'm sick of listening to him.
Well, I disagree. If I could suspend reality, I would love for him to be the starting quarterback for the Vikings. I mean, how amazing would that be with Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell and that team that is really a quarterback away? I mean, think of the season they had with Sam Darnold, who, they shipped out. But and he has regressed, but then he'd be second year off the Achilles. He should be in better condition and be ready to roll. And that scheme, talking about a scheme that Kevin O'Connell, from that Sean McVay coaching tree, who was also – so you had Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, Shanahan, and the coach of Green Bay were all assistants under Jay Gruden in Washington, and they let them all out the door.
Holy cow.
Yeah, they all were very young at the time, but Kevin O'Connell was he's still young, but they let me out the door even when they were like, oh, we should probably keep this guy. But Washington's seemingly doing fine now. But I would love it. I think the media hoopla, he's following Brett Favre's footsteps, like I mentioned, and then I think the Vikings would be the favorite to win that division hands down if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. And just a 1-year deal. That's it. One and done. We're going in. That's all we're doing is 1 year. And McCarthy has time to mature behind him. And then if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, you've got a young quarterback that's ready to step in. I would love it. I would personally love to see Aaron Rodgers as a Viking.
I would go along with that, but I would want to see him fail there.
That's honest.
I'm serious. And I was happy to see him fail with the Jets, because he sucked me in when he first went to the Jets. He kind of turned into a new man. And, I watched the show and I'm thinking, oh my God, I kind of like this guy, and then he got hurt and, he started up with all his crap that he usually does. And now he's leading these teams along. There's one other team, New Orleans is still, they need a quarterback as well, but do they want a 42-year-old quarterback?
I think if they want to sell tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd probably more than likely would sign a 2-year contract, probably for 1 year guaranteed. And then, because they seem like they always sign like a 2-year contract when they get towards the end of their career, but the last year's optional. Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Saints, you think Rattler's going to put people in the seats? No. Nothing against him. I mean, there's nobody on that roster that is getting people excited. Aaron Rodgers in New Orleans, yeah. I mean, and then they're also in NFC South, which really, Tampa Bay has owned as of late. I think the Panthers will be improved, but the Falcons are, I'm not sure. They got a good young quarterback, with Kirk Cousins right now as a backup, but like you said, will probably be a Steeler or out. Could go back to the Vikings, but I would. The NFC would be wide open if for the Saints to possibly win it. So I don't know. Do you remember Brett Favre used to do this? Brett Favre used to do this every offseason. I don't know if I'm going to play. I don't know. Crazy, right? It's like they're following the same pattern. It's wild.
And they never liked each other.
No.
They probably saw each other like in a mirror, man. They're like, oh my God, that's why they were clashing. They were the same person, I think.
So true. You see how many times you see that when people hate somebody, they're like, because you're exactly that person. They remind you of yourself. You don't realize it. But yes, we'll see. We'll see. There's no answers. Like you said, there's no answers right now. And the season can be starting, and then he might wait for someone to get hurt, and he pops in. But, while we're talking about this, Johnny, not to get too far off, but did you see, maybe you saw it because we posted on our social media, that there's a good chance Tom Brady comes out of retirement?
Okay. We were traveling. And Kim's showing me, she was looking at her social media when I was driving. She goes, hey, you guys posted this? And I look over and I'm like, what is he doing, man?
So the story is, did you see what the story is?
I kind of looked it up real quick and I'm thinking, I didn't see a story. And I'm thinking, what is, I figured you were up to something here.
No, I mean, it wasn't an April Fool's thing. Obviously, it'd be too late for that. And it wasn't clickbait. It really wasn't. There are reports that he wants to be the starting quarterback in the 2028 Olympics for the flag football team.
Oh, okay.
And that could work. And he would be 50 at the time.
Yeah.
But how awesome would that be? Tom Brady is the starting quarterback for Team USA in their first ever flag football.
I love it.
Yeah, he could do that. Who would you rather have? Who would you rather have?
No, he's got to do it. I didn't even realize that's what the story was. I didn't have time over the weekend. We were going crazy with the wedding and stuff. Now that all makes sense, and I'm all for it now. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, because I saw it somewhere and I clicked it. I'm like, what is this? He's going to play for the Raiders? Like, what is this? And then it was the whole. So it's kind of a little bait and switch, but legit. This is something he wants to do. He's looking to do, and if he's allowed to do it he'd have to, I guess, unretire. I don't know if it to be a part of the NFL or not. Actually, Team USA would select it. You don't need to be.
You don't have to be.
I would love a 50-year-old Tom Brady. What a great story.
And wins gold.
Gold.
Which they're gonna anyway.
They're going to, yeah,
it
won't be close.
Oh, it's got to happen. Oh,
it has to.
We got to figure something out. Let's jump on this bandwagon and let's get it out there that we need TB12 to be our Olympic quarterback, man. Yes.
Boy, I would love that. I'd buy that Tom Brady Team USA jersey real quick.
I'd buy it. We'd be wearing it on the show for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this episode. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're listening to your podcast. You get the weekly updates, and then anywhere on social media, just search Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. Of course, you want to be a part of the show as a sponsor. A lot of different opportunities to do that. You can email Johnny, but all the information's on our social media. You can send us a message. So great job, as always.
Till next week.